Back in May of 2022, I made a video about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, which I understood at the time probably seemed to most people like a spicy hot take because it went against the overwhelming majority of online opinion at the time. But from my perspective at the time, I was just saying something blindingly obvious. People were being extremely critical of Heard while lauding Depp, not because of the details of their defamation lawsuit, but because of rampant misogyny. In the years since, I have been repeatedly proven right, and new details have recently emerged that show once again how correct I was, which normally would make me feel great because I like being correct, except for the fact that these details have only come to light because the exact same thing is now happening to another woman. So first, a very brief overview of the Depp and Heard drama if you somehow missed it or you didn't watch my previous videos. The two actors dated for several years, but were married for only about a year before Heard filed for divorce in 2016, at which point gossip columns around the world were suddenly talking about how evil Amber Heard is, forcing her team to release a statement saying that she was trying to keep everything private, but Johnny's PR team was clearly trying to vilify her by spreading misinformation. In 2018, Heard referred to herself in an article as a public figure representing domestic abuse, and despite the fact that he was never mentioned, Johnny Depp sued her for defamation. In 2020, Depp also sued the Daily Mail for defamation, but he lost that case because a judge found that there was ample evidence to call him a wife beater because there was a lot of evidence that he had abused Heard on at least a dozen different occasions. The case against Heard herself, though, was here in the United States, and it was a jury trial in which the jurors were allowed to stay connected to the internet, watch the news, hear all about the case as it was ongoing. What they saw was a coordinated attack on Amber Heard that had increased in viciousness since 2016, with gossip columnists, social media influencers, and pseudoscientific body language experts loudly claiming that Heard was a liar, that the audio of Depp admitting to abusing her was fake, that her bruises were makeup and Photoshop, that she had actually abused him. While many of these critics were just going along with the flow, there were some very obvious signs that this was an artificial campaign of hatred, like how Ben Shapiro's far-right media outlet, The Daily Wire, spent tens of thousands of dollars on misleading Facebook ads and Instagram ads mocking and vilifying Amber Heard. Last year, I reported that experts examined 1 million social media posts in 2020 and 2021, and they agreed that more than half of them came from inauthentic accounts, meaning trolls and bots who posted identical messages praising Depp and insulting Heard and asking brands to drop Heard as an ambassador, among other things. One of the bot networks was identified as being a well-known Saudi operation. Apropos of nothing, Johnny Depp enjoys an epic bromance with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi groups are now financing his films as Depp is eyeing a possible 7-figure deal to become a global cultural ambassador for the country. Probably just a coincidence. All of that is well known by now, but the new news comes courtesy of a suspiciously similar story. The coordinated character assassination of Blake Lively following the premiere of her latest film, It Ends With Us. Now, I have not seen that movie because it looks awful and it's based on a book that looks even worse. But against my will in the past few months, I have learned that it is about domestic violence, and more so, I learned that Blake Lively was promoting this movie in a very disrespectful way by encouraging women to grab their friends, dress up in florals, and go out for a fun, empowering movie night to see this film. You know, the film about domestic violence. Not the best look. Well, it turns out that that was just a tiny piece of propaganda meant to vilify Lively, who was told by production to promote the movie in exactly that way and to avoid talking about the issue of domestic violence. This news comes courtesy of a complaint Lively filed last week against her co-star and the director of the film, Justin Baldoni, the film's producer, Jamie Heath, and several others. Lively has made a massive amount of evidence public with this filing, and you're free to read it in full if you'd like. As always, links to everything I discuss are in the transcript available at patreon.com/Rebecca or on skepchick.org, or you can find the direct link in the description box. But if you don't have time, I can give you a quick overview. In the complaint, Blake Lively detailed how she repeatedly complained about Baldoni, how he made sexual comments to her, how he violated her boundaries during the filming of It Ends With Us, including Baldoni trying to add gratuitous sex scenes with her, improvising kissing scenes, describing his sex life to her, and showing her video of his naked wife. He even creepily whispered sexual things to her during a scene that was filmed with no sound. Lively told production that she would require him to change his behavior and institute protective measures that are pretty much standard on other film sets, like hiring an intimacy coordinator and keeping the set secure and free of random friends and other people on the set while filming things like sex scenes. Many other people on set observed this behavior, and according to Lively's complaint, several other members of the crew also told production that Baldoni had been inappropriate. Production agreed to Lively's stipulations, and she was reassured enough to complete filming, though she and other cast members refused to do promotional events with Baldoni once the film premiered. So far, just a usual tale of a sleazebag industry insider being a jerk to a woman he wants to control, sexualize, dominate, right? Well, it's about to get so much worse. Lively could hardly help but notice the sudden increase in attacks on her character happening online and in the gossip rags, with people criticizing not just her promotion of the film, but also saying that she was a bully who tried to get the rights to the film's sequel, that she tried to wrestle creative control from the director, that she was a privileged bitch who was weaponizing feminism for her own gains, on and on and on. So she got a subpoena and ended up with a metric fuckton of text that revealed that Baldoni and Heath were worried that Lively would reveal Baldoni's sexual harassment after the film premiered, and so they decided to hire a public relations firm called the Agency Group with the express purpose of destroying Lively's reputation and, quote, burying her. The Agency Group, run by Melissa Nathan, promised to manipulate social media networks like TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram using a digital army of paid trolls to post and boost negative stories about Lively and her family. They were so successful that the team was astonished, with Nathan texting their also female publicists things like, "The majority of socials are so pro-Justin and I don't even agree with half of them, LOL," and bragging that Baldoni doesn't even know how lucky he is because the internet was filled with so much hate for Lively, despite the fact that there is so much dirt on Baldoni. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, like Jesus fucking Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, there's just so much, Nathan wrote. Meanwhile, Baldoni was out there receiving awards for being such a great ally to women, thanks in part to his request that the Agency Group focus on promoting how much he respects victims of domestic violence on TikTok. The New York Times details everything, and it's an absolutely horrific read. But the reason I bring this all up, because another client of Melissa Nathan and the Agency Group is Johnny Depp. It certainly looks as though they did the exact same excellent job in getting the entire internet to shit on Amber Heard. And boy, were they successful there. Not only did they get a jury of 12 people to agree that Amber Heard defamed Depp by saying that she had experienced domestic abuse, but it's been nearly 3 years since I pointed out the obvious fact that the hatred of Heard was baseless and artificial, and people are still commenting on that video to bash Heard. After we already know about the bots and the lies and the money funding the hatred, they're still leaving comments on a random YouTube video, and I don't think anybody's paying them anymore, at least. Heard have been proven to faking injuries with makeup, which never happened. Misogynistic society, wow. Bruh, Johnny Depp literally had his career destroyed. He was bashed relentlessly online and he was dropped from his film franchises. He has 2 films currently in development and is in a reoccurring role in a series for children. Are you seriously saying he didn't go through all of that before Amber was exposed? And my favorite, lady, get over all this shit. It's now 2 years later. Moves on, for God's sake. Which they posted on a video that's nearly 3 years old. Okay, I'll get over it. I'll end with a quote from the woman who, it seems, really helped make all of this hatred possible. Melissa Nathan texted this to Jennifer Abel after sharing how well socials were doing, supporting Baldoni and bashing Lively. It's actually sad because it just shows you how people really want to hate on women. Yeah, Melissa, it is really sad, isn't it? People want to hate on women so much that they fall for these manipulation tactics so easily. Tactics that were so obvious that even the team behind them sent worried texts that they're too obvious. People are going to know it's us. The audience isn't going to bother to question what they're hearing because they desperately want to hate these women. And even years later, they're going to reminisce over how much they enjoyed hating these women. And they're going to comment on this very video, insisting that they weren't fooled. Everything hateful was true about the women they hate. No evidence will convince them otherwise. And anyway, if that hateful stuff wasn't true, they'll find something else to hate. They'll find it. I'm sure it's out there. Because they have to. They'll hate these women because the women are hateable, because they are women. And anything they do or don't do is going to be held up as evidence for why they must be hated. So, I mean, why did I even make this video? They're not going to be convinced. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to rant as someone who is another hated woman on the internet. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.